and this is the Tag and Brando podcast, brought to you by us because we pay for all of our stuff. We have no sponsors. Nobody even knows we're here.
Everything is coming straight out of our pockets. You're welcome.
Yep. I mean, you brought to you by our disposable income from our various employments.
Thank you, jobs and
yes.
people from those jobs.
Yep. But yeah, this is a little bit of just a friendly conversation. We're gonna be nice and just talk about good things.
Yeah.
And
Pointless
a little
things,
bit about
maybe.
us.
Yeah.
Taggart and I have been friends for quite the long time.
Yes, sir.
Several decades, we could say.
Some would
three
say.
is several, right? Three.
Sure.
We're approaching
several
four.
has
I would
a
say four.
Loose definition, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and so we're gonna just kind of go through a couple of segments here with something I call the question of the day. Taggart's got something to trigger our memory.
Boom, boom, boom.
And how about just a little bit of new, something new from me and new from him.
Excellent.
So Taggart,
yes, sir.
You got all that?
Yes. I mean, I've only been here a few times, so the format's still a little bit, up in the air. But yeah, I think I got it.
I didn't want to catch off guard or something if you're a little worried about any of those.
Not any less worried than normal, but
okay.
I think I can handle it.
It's not the segments themselves. It's really, the topics, I guess, because you could do a triggered memory on your saddest moment, and it's like, I don't want to do that. That sucks.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway,
when we start scraping the barrel, you'll realize we'll be telling lots of sad stories.
Yeah. Man, this podcast just took a real left turn.
I used to have an okay time, but now I just get depressed.
Yeah. But we're going to do a question of the day that I think a lot of people would see as, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about, Taggart, what is your kind of go-to gambling strategy? Like, are you in it for the long odds where it's like, man, if I put in $1 and I get the odds of payout is $10,000 or $100,000, I'll throw down $1. Or is it like, if I put down $1 and I get deck $1.05, I'll play that because that's doable, kind of a thing. So what's kind of been your go-to, or what would you say you'd be comfortable kind of putting out there?
Well, I'm not much of a gambler, as it were. Kenny Rogers.
Right.
I have no idea when to hold them. So the extent of my knowledge has to do with blackjack apps or whatever on your phone or
blackjack apps,
computer.
Okay.
I played a little solitaire back in the day.
Gambling on solitaire. I will say this about solitaire, just that you brought it up.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about solitaire is literally there are just some games you are just, no matter what, not going to win.
The odds are way against you in solitaire. Real bad. Real bad.
Yeah, like it's, and I have how dating advice is like solitaire.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's I would just say people are gonna do, when you're playing a game of solitaire, most people's strategy is you take the next opportunity, right? If you get an ace
right
pops up, you're gonna throw that ace up there.
You better throw it up. It's dumb if you don't on the ace.
It's very rote until you get like, where you flip over 2 black 9s and then you come up with that red 8 and you're like, ooh, okay. Or like whatever. And you're like, which one should I put it on? Or like, when I move the 9s, which 9 should I move? Should I move this one or should I move this one? Because this one's got more cards underneath it, so it's probably better this one. And like that's like where supposed strategy comes in. But you don't like pass up opportunities.
No,
Anyway, like
if you've started solitaire, then you're already losing, and so you just have to say, I'm losing until you don't lose, which is very rare. But there are some solitaire apps and onlines or whatever that I've played that you like every move you like get a little coinage or something, and I never come out on top on those. So
I actually do remember that now that I think about it. Like, they're like the different solitaires and they'll give you points and stuff like that. But I've never played it for money. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know if I've done anything. I don't know if I've gambled any money ever.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Gambled any money ever? All right.
No. So do you remember? This is getting into triggered.
Terrible question of the
day. No, but I'm very timid of a person. So like when I'm playing blackjack on a phone or a computer or something like this, I'm like, what's the lowest amount that I can put down? Okay, great. I'll put that down.
Right.
Am I gaining money? Great. Am I not? I just don't want to, when I'm done, I don't want to be under what I started with. And, I don't have a big strategy of that, I guess. Do you remember when we went to Vegas with our families?
Yes.
Do you remember my mom?
You were not 21.
No.
I was very not 21.
No, this is a long time ago. Did you remember my mom played slots? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that specifically, but I remember not being able to go in to do anything at the, what's it called,
Yeah, well, we were walking through the casino one day or something at one point, and it was probably my family and probably not you guys were there, but my mom was like, let me show you guys why you don't gamble. And she threw a quarter in a slot machine and pull the thing down expecting to lose her quarter and then be like, look guys,
we just wasted
you're just
money.
Throwing money away if you gamble, do. And she won like $3. So she was like, this is not the point I was trying to get across. Let's leave now. So anyways, that's my gambling experience. Watching my mom throw a quarter in a slot machine. So yeah, so if I had a strategy, it would be like bet low, hopefully gain a little bit, and have the foresight to leave soon.
Oh yeah, like that's the thing is the biggest pitfalls that you're gonna come on is the throwing good money after bad,
right?
And
once
everything.
So I try to adhere on those games. Once I'm below what I started with, even by 1 cent, I'm out. Like done. Like
right.
You're not gaining.
Right.
It's not. It's not good to keep going. You're just gonna keep going in the hole. So.
Right. And that's kind of it. Like when I went out and played some blackjack at a friend's birthday in Vegas, it was very much like, all right, this is our entertainment.
Right.
You would spend a couple, decent monies on a show. And so this is our show, right? This is what we're doing tonight.
Gotcha.
And so here is my $100. That is my show money, we'll say. And we played blackjack, and then when I was up, and I was up to the point where I was over $100, then I took that $100 and I set it aside, and then I bet only the extra.
Okay.
And then I actually got over another 100, and then so I put that aside and only bet the extra. So I ended up turning that $100 into like, I think it was like 430, which was awesome because
get out of here.
You know, that extra $330 paid for, you know, the trip, basically, the gas money in the hotel and all that kind of different stuff. So that was pretty awesome in and of itself. But that's, you know, the same kind of thing that you were talking about, where it's like, okay, here is the money I've committed.
Right.
When that money is gone, if that happens, then I'm done. And pretty much like, I don't know. It was also like I was kind of pissing off the other people at the table because I also would sit out a couple hands every once in a while, and they somehow think like then they get your cards or whatever, and they're like, oh, like, why did you sit that one out? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do the math, man. If I had sat that out, or if I had been in it, then you wouldn't have gotten the second. It just doesn't, you know, like one extra person being out of the game completely completely changes the outcome in the entire game.
Right.
You know, like, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's just interesting because that was my strategy there. And then mine is just, very much like, you know, if the odds are like, it's all about like how much you're betting, not necessarily how much you're going to get. Right. Cause like, you know, like you could like, you can bet on the lottery for, you know, millions of dollars or whatever. And it's like, it's $3. I mean, I wouldn't do it every day, but you know, every couple of years, maybe I'll buy a lottery ticket or something like that.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily something that's like, oh man, like I got to play the lottery every week because like, what if my numbers come up on a week that I'm not playing and then I'm like going to be so pissed. It's like, I never look at the lottery, so I'll never even realize that.
It doesn't matter. Your odds are the same. It's the same.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, and that's the thing is like, the funny thing is when you like, if you ever played, you know, like the lottery and picking, you know, whatever it is, 6 or 7 or whatever numbers, and everything like that, like you're like, okay, like I can match a couple of these, like da-da-da. And you're like, the odds are, you know, 100 million to 1 or, you know, 500 million to 1 or whatever. And blah, blah, blah. And then when you get, like, when the lottery drawing comes out and you're like, I didn't get a single number. Like, 72? Who thinks of 72? 72 doesn't know. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's a bad
like,
number, man.
Yeah. So, I do remember, like, the first time I went gambling in Vegas, though. It was it was early in the morning, like 9:30.
Okay.
It was at Circus.
Okay.
Which is probably being torn down at this moment because it is terrible. I was I was like down there for like a wedding or something, and I was like, okay, I'm about to get picked up by, you know, the person I drove down here with, and I just want to put down a bet. And Circus I knew had like the lowest minimums, like you were talking about, right?
Right.
You know, trying to bet as small as. Can I throw down like 25 cents? Because I'd be happy if 25 cents became 50 cents. I would be fine with that.
Do you guys take wood chippings?
Like, yeah,
because I got a lot of those.
I will go for half a stick of gum for a full stick of gum. Like that's the risk that I'm willing to do. But yeah, so it was $2, $2 minimum.
Okay.
And it's 10 or like, you know, before 10 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Right.
So this is like, these people are like either dedicated or have nothing else to do.
Oh,
and so there's there people for and there was
months.
Yeah, exactly. They live for this time to come gamble, and it's not like a high, let's all like get, doing this thing at, the prime time at 2 a.m. while everybody's just like liquored up and everything. Long story short, as it's actually a short story that I just made way longer. I put down my $2.
Yeah.
I got a push.
Okay.
Which resulted in me getting my money back, and instead of the cash I put down, they gave me like 2 like coins, to like at Circus they're so old school that their dollars are actual like
tokens,
metal.
Yeah,
metal tokens as opposed to chips.
You're like, where's the closest car wash? Because I want to go wash my car with this.
Exactly. Like, but they gave me. He's like, and I got the push, and he gave me 2, the 2 coins, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I literally said that. I was like, I'm out. And all these like old people were like looking at me like, what the F was that, kid? Like you put down $2 and you didn't win, and now you're gone. And I'm like, that's all I wanted. Now I got some souvenirs, like I got $2 of souvenirs and I am good to go. And that was it. Like, very, very small risk and everything. Cause I mean, you have to see it as entertainment if you're in a situation like that. Other than that, it's just not worth throwing out there. So yeah, I definitely see it as it's entertainment. Like I also have bet on sports events legally. Like in Vegas, like went to the bookie and and I will say it makes the sporting event a little bit more exciting, right?
Yeah.
We've been on UFC fights. And it makes something that you really are kind of like, meh, all right, ooh, that's cool. Punch that guy in the face, a lot more like go, no, get up, like it, get your blood going a little bit more. Yeah. If you got $5 on the line or something like that, so
it scares me a little bit. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole fantasy football thing. You're like, I pull $100 in so I could play this or whatever, and hopefully win money in the end. I don't know. I just there's a lot of people who enjoy it and play it and have fun, and it's not a big deal. Just knowing myself, like I feel I would go way deep, and I don't know if I want to do that. So, so yeah.
Well, it's interesting you bring up something like fantasy football because, like, fantasy football, or it's weird because, like, it's like, I'll throw down a couple of bucks on something that I have no chance. Like, I guess that's the kind of the thing is, a lot of times I'm like, well, I'm putting this money down again as entertainment, just kind of see whatever, because it's things like. I've put like $5 into like a bracket for March Madness or something like that.
Okay.
Where it's like, right. Like Stephanie and I did a bracket for her work one time, and literally what we did was we went through the mascots and tried to decide which one would win in a fight.
and those were your choices.
Yeah, we're like, all right, let's see here. This one's a bulldog, and this one is. A cowboy? Okay, let's see. Well, we're gonna go with cowboy. That's probably gonna win this fight. All right,
he's got
this
a
one
gun.
Is a wildcat, and this one is a bobcat.
That's
right. Yeah. So that's literally what we did. Was we just went through the matchups and just pit the. We did terribly, but pit the mascots against each other. And stuff like that. So, but it's like $5. You do it for office, camaraderie or whatever.
Right.
It's like paying $5 towards the party fund, that you're never going to see again.
Right.
But something like fantasy football where you got to be involved and you got to be making decisions every week
and
stuff like
every
that.
Every game, and you're like, who do I put in, and who's my roster, and and do I know this guy? And
yeah, like $100. Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I would hate doing that. Just trying to pick at everything and just like, something pressures on the line because it's like, oh, that was $100. I shouldn't have done that.
Right. Well, and it's just like you got to be on every day looking at the, every week, like looking at the stats and who on your roster now is better than they were last week because of their performance and shifting people around. It just seems like a big investment for definitely never winning. I mean, obviously people win,
right.
But I don't foresee that for myself necessarily. So
right. I guess that's kind of, if you're looking at gambling in a kind of just conceptual base,
right?
Somebody has to win.
Right.
Like the majority of games, the majority of contests and things like that. Like blackjack in Vegas, somebody does not have to win. Like the dealer could literally win every single time.
Well,
like statistically,
the house is still winning. It's still
100%.
happening,
like
right?
Yeah.
But,
right. But I'm just saying, like, you think of something like, most jackpots, right?
Right.
Most jackpots will mount and mount and mount and mount and mount and mount
right.
until somebody wins. And that's the appeal of like a jackpot. It's like, oh my gosh, nobody's won this yet. Like the odds of somebody winning it are just going up and up and up as the amount goes up and up and up.
Right.
Right.
Which is not necessarily true, but
well, it's not even, right? like, oh my gosh, like the odds of somebody winning this, it's like, yeah, the odds of somebody winning it are still, the same. Depending on how you're looking at this, the whole thing, but it is interesting because, like, in a fantasy football, somebody's going to win. You got a team of, you got a league of 6-8 people, and all of a sudden you're like, your odds are like 1 in 8. Well, probably this guy is way better than you and cares way more about it and got his first draft picks and yada yada yada. So his odds are way better than yours, or that girl just like lucked out because her defense or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, it's like but somebody has to win. It's not like all that money that all 5 or 6 or however many of you put together is just gone.
Right.
So I think that's interesting. There's stuff that nobody wins, like the March Madness, like perfect bracket kind of stuff. But there are things where you're like, they draw you in because it's like, oh man, that pot's so big, nobody's won it. And if I it's getting ripe. It's getting ripe for the picking. Anyway. Or even sports games where it's like 50-50,
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah. Everything's a little bit of a gamble, but
yeah, we gamble every day. Get in the car, we're driving. It's a gamble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody was up way too late looking at their fantasy football stats, and they aren't really awake, and they're behind the wheel,
Or they're trying to make that trade while they're texting the commissioner to make that trade while they're going through a light, and bad things happen.
Obviously, a lot of gambling right now. You're going outside, you're coming in contact with people you don't know. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. COVID.
Yeah. This isn't necessarily a new, but just a little thing. We went and got we went and donated blood.
Oh yeah.
For just good measure. At the same time, they're testing for antibodies for COVID-19.
Oh yeah.
And and we are both negative for antibodies. So
you haven't had it.
supposedly we haven't had it. So,
did you think that maybe you had?
Oh yeah, there was. Oh man, there was
because you were sick for a bit.
2.5 weeks in January where we were both just dead, and I feel kind of bad about it now because, like, yes, I went out at midnight looking for cough medicine, like going and driving to Walmart and realizing it closes at midnight and being very frustrated, and then driving from gas station to gas station until I finally found a grocery store that was open so I could just guzzle cough medicine.
Gross.
I just had this terrible, just unproductive cough. It was awful, and I could not sleep. And
interesting.
Stephanie had the same thing, and like both of us were out of, took off work for a couple of days and everything like that. So, but that was like in January. So
interesting. We were sick in February or March. Almost everybody here, and so we kind of thought
I remember
similar.
that.
So I don't know, man.
I mean, I could also just been like the flu was awful this year or something,
right?
And got 100 times awful, but yeah. What do we got for triggered memory?
Well, I wanted to talk
memory.
I was thinking about, the OG scenario of staying home and how that seems so nice. And
being sick.
Exactly. Being sick and staying home and being like, I don't got to go learn nothing today. or even I don't have to go to work today because, oh goodness, I feel like the poop stick. So I wanted to get your take. Maybe what's your usual doings when you're sick at home? Maybe back in the day, maybe just in January. What did you end up doing? What did you watch stuff? Did you just sleep? What do you do?
For me in general, I feel like the two different types of sickness are handled like if you're nauseated, you just gotta throw up. Like you can't. You just gotta fight through it and just throw up and everything like that. And so when I was a kid, I would literally just sleep in the bathroom, just curl up on the tile because it was cool. I probably had a little bit of a fever, and I would just curl up right on the bathroom tile, so I was right there ready to go. And I remember specifically one time I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. This is gonna be terrible. And went into the bathroom and laid there for, I don't know, maybe a couple hours. I don't remember what time I woke up in the middle of the night. And then my sister came into the bathroom, and she's like, I have to take a shower so I can go to school. And I was like, well, can you go upstairs? Because I feel like I'm going to throw up. She's like, no, all my stuff's down here. You go upstairs if you're going to throw up. And this was at our other house, right? In Rhapsody.
Yep.
Or not Rhapsody. Yes, where you live. Anyway.
Shh, don't tell them where we live.
So we were, so I just remember getting to the bottom of the stairs and just looking up that long staircase and just being like, and just right on the bottom stair, just throwing up and everything like that. But yeah, so and then after that, I'm like, great. So after that, I'm, watching TV and doing all this other stuff that I can do. And then I feel, if my mom's like, you should have gone to school today. It's like, no, I threw up. That gets me out. That gets me out of school. Throw up is free game.
Yeah, dude.
But specifically, I remember the one time I got my wisdom teeth out.
Ooh.
And my sister was out for 3-4 days or something like that. She did not have a good experience when she got her wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
And so that was what I was anticipating. And so I set myself up. Like before I went in for the procedure and all that kind of different stuff, I went so far as to get like an extension coax cable, like a long coax cable.
Uh-huh.
So that, and then I went and I rented and picked out like, I think it was like 10 or so DVDs, and I literally had the DVD player right next to the couch that, pulled out from under the TV right next to the couch. And then I had the stack of DVDs and like all the stuff that I would need for everything, just like all lined up and ready to go, to make sure that I didn't have to move at all. Like I could sit on the couch and just plug in the next DVD without having to move. I took my like Vicodin or whatever, my like first dose of Vicodin, fell asleep for a couple hours, and woke up the next day and I was totally fine, and actually called my boss and went into work.
Really?
But I had scheduled like 3 days of PTO and all that kind of different stuff. So like, yeah, I just like sat there. I was like, man, I am ready to go. Like, I don't have to move off this couch. DVD player is within, arm's reach. DVDs, food, water, my little syringe thing with saline solution to make sure I don't get dry socket, all that kind of different stuff. Woke up next day like, I'm all good. All right. So what about what's your sick strad? Did you
dude, if I feel bad, all I want to do is lay around.
Right.
And
oh yeah, I forgot to say, yeah, so if I'm nauseated, puking, if I'm just sick and achy, sleep. Just 100%.
Really?
Sleep gets me through. Yeah. Anyway.
I wish I could sleep straight. I'm not a good straight sleeper. So I'll lay down, I'll turn on a show, I'll watch whatever it is. But that's usually what it is. I'll set myself up on the couch, lay down, and do the thing. I know that usually I would feel better if, like, in a throw-up situation, if I threw up. But, dude, throwing up is one of my least favorite things in the world. And though I know it'll make me feel better, I will fight that until it is not possible anymore.
Right.
I do not like it at all.
I'm not one to, like, make myself throw up.
Right.
Because I think your body really needs to be like, okay, I've got everything I need where it needs to be. Right. Now it's coming out.
Right. Right. So yeah, man. When I was a small child, young boy, and would stay home from school or whatever, I just plop myself down on the couch, turn on some TV, watch some Price is Right. Whatever crazy daytime shows on. When the soaps came on, be like, boo, nothing's on. But that was that was about it.
I just love the commercials you get in daytime, or you used to at least get in daytime TV. Dude. It's all about like.
Are you injured in an accident at work?
Yeah. Are you injured? All those like. You are watching daytime TV because you don't have a job.
We can get you workers' comp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Mesothelioma.
Yeah. Did you used to work with asbestos?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, I remember one time when we were first married, I was sick bad. And I don't know how many days I stayed home. 2 or 3, or maybe 4. Maybe it was like a whole week or something. And
jeez,
yeah, it was like not good. But that that was 10 years ago. So we're getting in the age of streamy streams and watchy watches and whatnot. And I watched, I watched a lot of Psych. I basically watched Psych straight through that whole time. And to this day, the theme song to Psych makes me feel a little queasy. Because it is just a little bit like it's not bad. I can get through it, but like I can feel, it's psychosomatically linked to that time that I was sick and watched those like straight for days.
And that is 10 years ago. So I mean, that's probably when Netflix wasn't as good, or whoever, whatever streaming service. Some of them they don't go to the next episode until after the credits,
right?
And they play the whole intro and everything every time.
Yeah, it was no skippy intro.
Yeah. Oh man. And then you get that red screen when it gets to like the end of a movie or something.
Right.
Like, yeah. Oh man.
Early days, man.
It has been an interesting evolution, but
that's when we were watching some sliders.
I'm trying to think, like, because I would definitely watch Price is Right for sure, and that's like the go-to show.
Yeah, dude, that show makes me think of being sick and or being at my grandparents' house in the summer, because they would watch The Price is Right every day, and I would go into their room where their TV was that they watched. They had a big TV in the living room, but they did not watch TV there. And I'd go sit on the floor between their easy chairs and watch Price is Right. Yeah.
Dude, that show, it's so funny. It's such a... Yeah, I mean, plenty of gambling on that show. You're just like,
right,
what kind of game am I going to get? Is it actually like a strategy game, or is it like pure luck?
Right,
just plinkoing it,
right. You're just like, I trust the audience. What's that? Phone number 4, please.
Right.
Yeah.
They have some bizarre prices for stuff.
Dude.
How much is this car? And it's like, you got to get these numbers in order down to the dollar. And it's like, nobody pays like $14,628. Like, where did you get this number?
Yeah, that's
like,
yeah.
I don't know, because everything else is like, this can of tuna, or it's like, is it $1.98 or is it only 97 cents?
Right.
Like, those are actual prices or whatever. Yeah. This car is just some random up there number that you're like, this, like, am I getting all the options? Like, what is this very bizarre, non-sticker price?
Yeah, it's basically the producer's brother bought a car and he can't pay for it, so he just thought he'd sell it. And
how
this
much
is what he
left
wants
on his
for
loan?
it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh,
sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now we have to stay home regardless of whether we're sick or not. So it's crazy. World turned upside down.
I know. And like, there's so many things, like, it's like, getting back to work, people are saying like, okay, well, you'll have to sign a document every day that you are non-symptomatic and stuff like that. And, if you are sick or feeling sick, or have a fever or any of these symptoms, it's like, stay home, tell your manager and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just like, I don't even know why I would even bother to try to come in.
Yeah, why go back if you can do your job at home? Like, I just, I don't know. I would think a lot of companies would keep the option open to stay at home to work as long as possible, for indefinitely. I would think would be smart, honestly. Overhead, but I don't know. You never know. But yeah, so there you go. That was a triggered memory.
Yeah. So what do you got for the new? Single new.
Yeah.
No news.
I want to talk.
The new.
I want to talk about a Disney movie. That's right.
A Disney movie.
A Disney movie.
Okay.
Have you seen go ahead.
One or two of them?
No.
There's only been a couple, so I probably could guess.
You cannot guess, but go ahead anyways. No, really, you don't have to do that.
I don't know.
Are you familiar with a little
Apple
movie?
Dumpling Game?
Nice.
No.
But also no. Are you familiar with the little movie called Peter Pan?
Peter Pan, the animated... I want to say story. The animated version?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Disney's Peter Pan. I am familiar with
Good.
that.
Great. Perfect. I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is a little movie called Peter Pan Return to Neverland. Are you familiar with this movie?
I am familiar, or I am cognizant of its existence. I have seen it, maybe parts. Don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Well, this is where I have lived for most of my life. Yes, I vaguely knew at some point in the 2000s they made a sequel to Peter Pan, but I did not see it, and I did not care to see it, and then I saw it. This
Lion King 2.5 or 1.5, and
have you seen Lion King 2?
The Return of Jafar, and so on and so forth.
Quick story. Do you know the story? So my mother's side of the family would have these reunions at this cabin. We called it a cabin. It's like 3 stories high and has fireman's poles from the 3rd floor to the 2nd and from the 2nd floor to the 1st, like 2 different ones. They got porches all that wrap around the whole building on the 2nd and 3rd floor. It's huge. So we'd go and we'd stay and we'd have these family reunions. Anyways, like when I graduated from high school, maybe it was, I'm not sure exactly when, but it was right after high school. Sean came with us to the last family reunion that I've been to at that place. And my cousin's little boy, who was like, I don't know, 2 or 3, he was not old. He could climb up the flagpoles. That's not the point of the story, but the fireman poles. And I was like, what is this kid? But he could work the VCR.
Good.
Yeah. So one time we went to go watch a good movie, and I don't remember what we were going to watch. We were going to watch a good movie. And he came along and said, no, let's watch this. And us being old people at this point, we're like, yeah, do what you want to do. And he put in Lion King 2. And we watched Lion King 2. The first time, it was fine. Didn't hate it. It was okay. It's not great. But after we watched it about 5 times, we were like, we're going to kill ourselves. There wasn't a lot to do for the.
Watched it 5 times?
For people our age. Every time we went to watch something, he would come and put the movie in. And we watched it, I don't know how many times. Too many times. And it just, every time we would be watching something, he'd come and switch it out. And we're like, okay, looks like we're doing this again. Oh man, hot pokers in the eyes. It was rough. Anyways, back to what I'm talking about.
Peter Pan 2.
Return to Neverland. For those who are not familiar, let me give you a brief rundown. So, Wendy grew up. What? That's right. Wendy grew up.
Wendy Moira Angela Darling?
You're familiar with her full name from Hook. Good for you. And yes.
that
the one and the same.
Looks older. Maggie Smith looks older in that movie
than she does now.
To this day.
Yeah, for sure. You're like McGonagall? And she's like, no,
Yeah.
older.
Mm-hmm.
So Wendy grew up. Wendy got married. Wendy lives in the same house in London.
Of course.
It's World War II.
Ooh.
London's getting bombed. The next day, they're going to have to ship the kids away.
This is all in the cartoon?
Yeah. Does this sound a little bit like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Yes, it does. Same premise.
Okay.
Her daughter, named Jane, who has the worst haircut ever, by the way. I was like, Wendy, you upstanding citizen and woman, how could you let your daughter's hair be this cut? It's ridiculous. Anyways, they decided to make a full-length animated movie with that haircut. I don't understand. That's, again, beside the point. Jane...
I'm looking this up. Oh, I do remember Jane's, like...
It's bad,
weird
right?
Bowl cut.
It's a weird...
And, yeah.
It's a weird Bob A-line thing. She has a younger brother. Don't remember his name. But, of course, Wendy always believed. And so she taught her children about Peter Pan and all his adventures. And she'd tell them stories about it. The young son, he's got pajamas that look like Peter Pan. And he's like, Peter Pan is cool. And Jane, tell me another story. And because... Danny. That's right. Danny. So Jane flips out because she has to grow up, basically, just like Wendy did in the first one, because she had to leave the nursery. This is a little bit more serious. She has to leave the city because of World War II. But she is unhappy about it and flips out on her mom and is like, Peter Pan's not real and I don't want to protect my brother and tell him those stories, and I don't want to go, and she flips out and says mean things and kicks her family out. Now, in the first movie, Peter was hanging out there because there were people there that believed in him. Jane don't believe in this moment.
Right.
See, but Peter Pan doesn't come and get her. Captain Hook flies his fairy ship there and kidnaps her. Also, sound like Hook much? Anyways, so they go off, blah, blah, blah. I missed some of it. She gets hooked up with the Lost Boys. And yada yada. And apparently when she was younger, her mom was like, you could be the first lost girl. And she's like, I don't believe in things. Here, the part that I had the most issue with was at one point she flipped.
Like how you're watching. I'm sorry to interrupt. But
no,
this
please.
Is the best part about watching these movies and stuff like that is the fact that you're just like, you could just turn this movie off, but you're like, no, I am going to commit myself to watching this so I can just have something to complain about.
Some context. My son was watching it. I'm not going to turn it off. The man was watching it. He's interested. He's like, what's Peter Pan? What's he doing? What's this Jane character? Why is her hair so bad? So at one point, Jane flips out because Jane's kind of temperamental.
Right.
She flips out on Peter and is like, I don't have to believe in what you guys do, and I can't fly, and I don't think it's a real thing, and pixie dust isn't real. There's this saying throughout: faith, trust, and pixie dust. Something.
Faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
The middle one I might have got wrong, but it comes up over and over and over again. She's like, I don't believe in faith and trust and pixie dust, and I'm like, why do you keep rhyming and saying that? But so she flat out says, I don't believe in fairies, and gets out of there. And if anybody remembers anything about the actual musical or play or old school book, Like, you don't say, I don't believe in fairies, because then fairies die.
You said it twice now already.
You know what? But
this is the Beetlejuice.
You can't. But you can't mean it.
Everything.
The issue is you can't mean it. If you mean it, then they die. I'm just saying the words. I don't believe it. I know fairies is real.
We'll just build this in.
Okay.
That's for, you just got to clap while you say it.
Well, that's the whole thing, okay? This is where my beef comes in. Now, I liked that. I was like, at that moment, I was like, cool. They brought in this thing, which they don't touch on in the first animated Disney Peter Pan, that when someone says, I don't believe in fairies, fairies die, and you got to bring them back by clapping and saying, I do believe in fairies. I do. And I was like, nice. They brought it back in the second movie, which is also like Hook and also like Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. They're bringing things together, and I'm enjoying that aspect of it. But then when Jane turns around and it's like, okay, just kidding. I do have faith and I have trust and I like pixie dust. She just goes and cries next to Tinkerbell. She's just crying, and Tinkerbell's dying, and she's just crying there. She's just crying, and like internally, she must be having this realization that, yes, I believe in fairies and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And Tinkerbell just gets better. And I'm like, you gotta clap. You got to say it. You didn't clap. You didn't say it.
Doing it wrong.
Oh, and then, yeah, so that was my beef. And then she accidentally betrayed Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. Hook gave her this...
Accidentally?
Well, Hook gave her this whistle, and he's like, they got my treasure, and I just want to go home to my mom, which was weird. And he's like, here's this whistle, and it's for their own good. They don't need the treasure. What are they going to buy it for? They're Lost Boys. They don't pay for things. And...
they literally steal.
You take this whistle. When you find the treasure, you blow it. I'll come. I'll capture Peter. I won't harm a hair. I won't harm one hair on his head. Mm-hmm. Captain's honor. And she's like, okay, well, that sounds kind of like a good deal. But then she goes back and she's got the whistle, but then everyone's kind of cool and stuff. And Peter's like, you could be the first Lost Girl. And she's like, what? And then she's like, well, I kind of, so she throws the whistle in the water, but then the little skunk kid finds it and blows it because it looks like a fun whistle. And then they come and they capture him, and you're like, no, Jane did it. Well, Hook says, Jane did it. Thanks, Jane. And she's like, I didn't mean to. I wasn't going to. Who blew the whistle? And then she betrayed them, and then she had to go rescue them, and then yabba yabba, she flies, she believes, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then she goes home, and then Wendy sees Peter, and that was kind of weird. She's old, and she's like, I still believe. She got sprinkled a little. She floated. I was like, dang, she can still fly. And that was the movie. So for those who haven't seen it, you've seen it now, and
no need.
And you should be angry that they didn't clap and that she didn't say, I do believe in fairies, I do. And that is the new for me this week.
All right. Oh, man. Well, that should be, I hope you have that all written down as a review.
I don't, but I'll go back and transcribe this whole thing, and I'll put it out there for those who need a honest opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm glad that you went through that, because I now definitely don't want to watch that at all.
You don't have to. Go put on the Apple Dumpling Gang again and laugh to that Don Knotts and Tim Conway. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Those are the guys. Those are the guys in that movie, right? Definitely Tim Conway.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don Knotts for sure.
I'm pretty sure. It's been a minute, but
yeah.
Classic. Yeah, yawn it out.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Sorry, you heard that. Good.
It was a break. It's late. Yep. 2 and 2.
Well, for the new that I've got, so this week I have been updating the old resume.
What?
And looking for the jobs in my field of study. So right now, my job is very much not what I am ascribing to and planning on doing, especially when I have completely finished school and everything like that.
Okay.
And so we're just looking at different things and being like, yeah, I really just got to start getting into the biotech field and everything like that, get some experience there, and really just get my lab experience that I need for my internship for my degree.
Okay.
Right? So in updating my resume and stuff like that, I mean, first off, it's like a weird left turn to go from the sales and customer service and those retail kind of background to be like, and guess what? Now I want to work in science.
Right.
And, and all that kind of stuff.
Can I get all the way back to phlebotomist?
Yeah. Because I basically have my resume built out for like the different progressions that I've done at these other companies,
right,
and everything like that. So I'm like, I want to show my leadership skills, and I want to show my organization. I want to show this, I want to show that, and everything like that. And like my last one for the job for the position I currently have was like, yeah, I got to show all these other skills, and my resume was, quite long in the chunk of like what I'm doing at my current role that plays into the next role and stuff like that.
Right.
And then when we were going through my resume, somebody's like, yeah, you got to cut all this crap down to one sentence, maybe like three to 5 words, if possible. That's like,
right.
Like, oh, you were a team lead. Nobody cares. Like nobody that you're going to be talking to cares about that now. Like, oh, like, you were a supervisor. That's great. All this laundry list of stuff that you said in here as a supervisor that got you the job that you have now, like, they don't care about that. They like,
no, not unless you can pull out different aspects that would,
like
tend to the job that you want.
Mm-hmm. Right. And basically I'm looking at lower level positions anyway,
right,
that to get my foot in the door and everything like that while finishing school. So it's like, yeah, like they're not going to care if you have leadership experience. They're going to care if you can follow instructions.
Right.
You are not applying for their job. You are applying to work right under them.
Right.
And have no one work under you and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's just been an interesting kind of like transition there, and just looking for those types of jobs and everything like that, and listing like, it's like, oh, like, what are my skills? Well, nobody cares about like this computer skill. They really want to just know, like, what are your lab skills? What can you do in a laboratory?
Right. Can you run a centrifuge?
Like, yeah, exactly. So it's just weird to be like updating it and being like, wow, this is like, so to the point where I didn't even like edit my resume really.
Yeah.
Like I just opened a whole new template and just kind of just started over, because it's like, it's not even like paring this all down. It's really just like we're just going to start basically from scratch here and everything like that. And that kind of seems like the thing that I'm doing is, just completely getting into a new field, which is going to be exciting and a lot of fun, and everything like that. But I just, in writing a cover letter too,
You're like, well, I don't even know what to put.
Yeah, cover letters are the worst. And everything like that. And the worst part about applying for jobs nowadays is let's do your resume, and then let's fill your resume out again on this digital form.
Right.
And I hate that.
No,
like
it's
some
so
of the
bad.
places I've been applying to have a like an auto search feature where it basically
fills the stuff in for you. That's nice.
Pulls it and fills it in, so you can kind of just go and like edit it down and do whatever. But like so many of the other ones, it's like upload your resume here. Now fill out everything again, and then answer these questions about disability.
Right.
And are you a veteran? Or one of them asked, do you self-identify as a disabled veteran?
What?
And I'm like,
you can't just claim it. You can't just...
I'm like, I guess like, you know, if you don't see your, like, if some people might see you that way, you know, it's like, oh, you have an injury from, you know, your time, like in a war zone and everything like that. And it's like, yeah, I don't identify like that. Like I'm just me versus like, you know, like, I don't know.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah, well, that might make more sense than some just guy coming off the street and he's like, yes, I'm not old enough to be in the military, but I am a disabled veteran.
Right. So yeah, so it's just been interesting to kind of like, yeah, like, I don't know why I even wrote a resume, because it's just like, now you just gotta fill it all out on their platform and everything like that. And like, and again, like, how much do you read resumes? How much do people read the cover letter?
Right.
All that kind of different stuff. And, you know, you put detail oriented on there, and then you're like, crap, now I got to reread this whole thing.
I got to make sure that there's a lot of details.
Double check everything. But yeah, and that's really it, is like, I mean, I basically admitted on my thing, I'm like, I am starting a new career path, and I'd like to combine the work ethic that I have demonstrated in my promotions in these other fields, or these other like industry, and my combined with my education to get me into this career path. It's like, because as of right now, I have I wanted to say culinary, but I mean like scholarly, you know, experience. I have no in industry experience at this point, so it'll be interesting to kind of navigate.
Good luck,
kind of
man.
stuff.
That's cool.
Thanks.
But crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It should be interesting. So
nice.
Yeah. So hit you up with updates on that as they come.
Let us know.
Yeah. But that is our show.
That's all.
So if you're sick at home, listen to this.
Yes.
Or if you've lost everything gambling except for your one listening device and your terrible headphones or something like that.
Right.
We hope you get back on your feet. Hope you get better. And we really appreciate you listening to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We are always looking for new stories and questions and everything.
Yeah.
If you want to send those over to Taggart and Brandon, TAGGNBRANDO @gmail.com, the Instagram, and the tweeters.
You got it.
That is us. And so, Tag, I had a good time. Did you have a good time?
Always. So much.
Well, way to stick with it. I mean, I know the format, you know, could have thrown you off.
Well, you know, I was a little worried at the beginning, but, you know, I got through it.
All right.
I got through it.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, we will check back with you next week. Thanks again.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.